What's up, everyone? It's the People's Fit Coach, Sincere Hogan, and getting ready to show you another great exercise using kettlebell. This is a great exercise for shoulder stabilization, as well as working that C word that I can't stand, the core. So it gets to work all this trunk area. This also is going to give you a very good stretch as far as your legs are concerned, the inner thigh. You're going to really work on that hip flexibility too, which we really need that these days because a lot of us work from 9 to 5 and we spend most of our time sitting, crunched over with our hips nice and tight. And what happens with that, you start losing more and more flexibility, which makes it that much harder to train and that much harder just to walk around, climb stairs, and just do things in everyday life. So you want to definitely keep your hips flexible, especially as you get older. Okay, so this is one of the great ways to work that out. So what we're going to do here is just do different variations of the windmill. You may have seen this in yoga. Well, now you're just going to do it with a kettlebell in your hand. So it's going to be some very important points to remember when you're doing it with a kettlebell overhead. All right? So one of the first things we do, of course, you always want, since I'm starting with my right hand, I always want the handle of the kettlebell pointing to my left leg. Basically, what I like to tell my clients is to make sure that when you're doing your grip, is to make sure that everything is okay, because that's the grip that you're going to be using with the kettlebell. You're going to make a nice little hook, like an OK symbol, here in that back corner. So I always tell them to make sure that everything is okay in the back corner. All right? Once you do that, now there are different ways you can get the kettlebell up. You can do a clean, you can do a snatch, you can do a press. Either way, just get the kettlebell above your head. So here, I get a good clean, hips out. So I'm going to go ahead and press it up. You can do a jerk as well. So go ahead and... So before I even start, one of the first things I want to do is make sure that my kettlebell is over my base, over my center of mass here. So how do we do that? Taking a page out of my friend Coach Jason Dobie's book, you do that with bone stacking. Stack all this up, from here, wrist, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, foot. You have a nice straight line going down from the top of the bell, from the top of your hand all the way down to your foot. All right? So once I've got this locked out, one thing you don't want to do, you don't want it like this. Because you see what's happening? I'm losing control of my arm swinging out. So sink that lat, that shoulder blade, pull it down as the kettlebell is going up. Separate the two. Like I like to tell my clients, they don't like each other. Keep them away from each other. Shoulder goes this way, kettlebell goes that way the entire time. Start with a light weight. In fact, start this exercise without any kettlebells in the beginning, okay? Just so you can get used to the form. In fact, take it down, just to show you really quick. So we're going to do it without the bell first. So let me just move this to the side so we can work on the form. All right, so basically, you clean, boom, get your bell up, extend your hip, press it up, do what you have to do, jerk it up. Either way, nice straight line here. The bones are nice and stacked. You always want to keep this bicep right by your eardrum. I said bicep, not shoulder. So don't do this. Don't reach up, because remember what I told you. Shoulder blade and kettlebell don't want to be around each other. Pull that shoulder down as that kettlebell goes up. All right, get a nice straight line. The next thing I like to do once you got all this stacked up and you got that bicep by your ear, the next thing I like to do is tell my clients, treat your feet like windshield wipers. You want to turn the wipers away from the kettlebell. So this is what's going to happen. Once I lock out, boom, I turn it out. Okay? So my feet are pretty much like in a 45-degree angle, turning away from the kettlebell. Again, turn the windshield wipers away from the bell. Next thing you want to think about is your hips. You want to push that hip kind of back in a slight angle. It's like doing a side lunge, and you want to keep this leg, the leg that's under the kettlebell, you want to keep it straight. All right? So you just want to push, push. And another thing is keep your eyes on the kettlebell. This is a situation where you don't want to take your eyes off of it. It's above your head. Keep your eyes on it. Don't worry about it. As long as you're looking at it, you don't have to worry about it coming down. Especially as long as you're working with a weight that you can handle. All right? So, locking it out, pushing my hips back. I slide my hand right here along the inside of my thigh until I touch the ground. Again, I am in a letter T. I want my arm straight. I want my hip back. I want this leg straight. It's okay if you can bend this knee right here. Okay? Just depends on your flexibility. Some people can keep it straight. Some have to bend just slightly. The one leg you don't want to bend is the one that's under the kettlebell. All this should be lined up. So keep your eye on the bell. Again, your hand is sliding to the inside of your thigh. You touch, and you kind of come up in a corkscrew motion with your eye still on the bell, keeping that bell over your body, over your base. Okay? So it looks like this. And as far as your breathing, Inhale down, blow it up. Suck it down, blow it up. So it's a hold. If you have like high blood pressure or something like that, you should really be careful about holding your breath, okay? So here, and then I come up. Again, my lats are sinking, so it's right there. And then I rack it, fix my feet, and then I would boom, go into another one, clean. So once I get here, inhale it up, and then right here, stack all the bones up, pulling my lats down. Lats down, bells up. You know, sounds like a documentary on HBO. Lats down, bells up, baby. Just like that. So once you got it all lined up from right there, from the top of the bell, top of your hand all the way down to your feet, windshield wipers away from the bell, and again you're pushing that hip kind of back at an angle. So again, press it, eyes on the bell, slide, 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 slide. Keep that bell over your head, and then corkscrew ups right there. So it's touch, right there, okay? So now let's do it with a bell. All right, so really quick. Again, start with my right hand. You don't necessarily have to. Just remember, whatever hand you start with, make sure everything's okay in the back corner. So that means that handle's pointing to the opposite leg. Get a good clean. Right here. Windshield wipers, boom. Eyes on the bell. Hips back, sliding down. Touch to wherever your range of motion is. You come up. Bring it down. Make sure you bring that elbow to your hip right there. And then, again, take it to the other side. Windshield wipers, eyes on the bell. Bones are stacked. Sliding down the inside of that thigh, pressing my hips back in the angle, just a slight angle. I touch, I hold, and then I bring it down, and we're done. Now generally, like I said, it's good for flexibility. One thing about doing the windmills with kettlebells, again, it's not about doing 1,000 reps, doing 10 reps, 20 reps, whatever. Trust me, if you do like 5 on each side, you're more than enough, you're gonna feel it. And it's going to work for you. So try that out. Let me know what you think. Make sure you leave comments below if you tried it before. Like I said, always, if you're a beginner, start without a kettlebell and just kind of check your form out. Especially if you're outside, you can kind of like eyeball the shadow over here. But most importantly, when you have a kettlebell, keep your eye on the kettlebell. Okay? So that's the reason why you want to do it without a kettlebell, so you can look at your form. So when you have that kettlebell, you don't want to be looking at your form. You want to make sure your form is already intact. And again, start with a light kettlebell. Leave your ego at the door. All right? Get a weight that you can handle that's not going to have you shaking and wobbling. All right? Other than that, like I said, just let me know how everything goes. If you have any more questions, you can always contact me here on my blog, on my website. And you can always check out everything at SincereHogan.com or NewWarriorTraining.com. All right? This is the People's Fit Coach, Sincere Hogan, saying train like a warrior, eat like a warrior, live like a warrior.